Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Investing Explained. Here's today's question. And the second question I want to answer on today's show was one that I found very interesting. And when I was asked it was asked on a Facebook Live that I did in our Facebook group. And it got me to stop and think for a second because I thought that the person asking the question actually had a very good point, not something I really thought about too much. And so I wanted to address it briefly here on the show, answer the question so that if anybody else listening to the podcast today that didn't make it to the Facebook Live that we had can also hear my response, and hopefully it'll help them as well. So the question was, what do I do if I'm not passionate about investing, but I still want to be an investor because I think it's best for my financial future? And for me, like I said, that kind of caught me off guard for a second. It really made me think, because for the last 10 years, I've been super passionate about investing, both in the stock market and in real estate. It's just something that is innate in me that I really enjoy. I love studying it. Anytime it comes to watching TV shows or reading books, I always want to pick up an investing or business book. It's just something I enjoy personally. So I hadn't really given much thought to the people out there that don't feel the same way that I do, the people that aren't passionate about it. Yet I talk about this not only because I'm passionate about it, but also because it's something that people need to do regardless of whether you're passionate about it or not. Ultimately, the goal is to build our net worth and build our wealth so that we're able to spend more time doing the things we love with the ones we love. So for me, it was just a really interesting perspective that I hadn't really considered, just given where I'm coming from. And so if you're not passionate about it, don't spend your time doing it. All of these things that we talk about are very important, and they'll help you lead to a successful financial future and help you build wealth. But that doesn't mean you have to do the specific things we talk about in order to reach those goals. So what I mean by that is oftentimes we talk about being active investors here. So I talk about how I purchase rental properties myself, and then I manage them, or I have a property manager manage them for me, but they're physical assets that I've actually acquired myself, and I'm actively participating in owning them. And that does take time for me, but it's something I enjoy because I'm passionate about it. For those people who aren't, that doesn't mean I don't think you should invest in real estate. I do think you should be invested in real estate, but it doesn't mean that you have to be the one actively purchasing those deals. It doesn't mean you have to be the one that's actively sourcing those deals from realtor.com or Zillow and actually finding them, analyzing the deals, doing all of the work that goes into buying these properties. Thankfully, today, there are resources available like Fundrise and a bunch of other crowdfunding platforms that you could use to invest in real estate, and you don't have to do anything except for invest. So it's important for you to understand the topics. It's important for you to understand what's going on and how you should be investing, but you don't necessarily have to spend all the time doing the types of things that we often talk about here on the show. If you're not passionate about it, allocate some of your money towards real estate, whether it be through crowdfunding. You could also purchase REITs in the stock market. That's a whole nother conversation that we'll have a full episode about. But there's different ways that you can get exposure to real estate. You can invest in REITs or through crowdfunding, get your exposure to real estate very passively, not have to spend very much time on them, and then continue on with doing things you're more passionate about. Rather than learning the specifics on how to find property managers or find real estate agents or analyze real estate deals, you can just learn the basics, invest through those different mediums that take less of your time. You might not get as good of a return, but you'll get some exposure to real estate still. And then you can go on and do all the different things that you're more passionate about. So similar to the stock market, if you're not interested in analyzing individual companies, then you don't have to do that. You can just buy an ETF, consistently purchase that over time, consistently contribute to that, and you will do very well over the long term. And the same goes for real estate. If you're not passionate about it, don't force yourself to do it. That's not going to lead to a happy life for you. Get some exposure to real estate through the various different ways you can. You could do syndications, REITs, crowdfunding, all of the different, we talk about various different ways you could do that here on the show. And then spend your time, go do other things that really make you happy, and do all the other things that you're passionate about in life. That's all for this episode of Real Estate Investing Explained. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, or subscribe to our YouTube channel to get even more free content.